Hello everyone, welcome. How are you all? Welcome back. Comments your beautiful name. Hello. Hi Vikas, welcome. How are you? Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Hello everyone, welcome. Hey dear Eric. How are you? Hi. Hello, dear Eric. Hi, Vikas. Hello, dear Nadia. Welcome. Here is your good name. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Hi, Talha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Safa. Here is your good name. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Good Seren. Hello, dear good Seren. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Johnny. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Akash. How are you? Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Riza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, Sanjay ji. Just now. Welcome. How are you? Hello, dear Iman. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, Irfan. Hello, dear Irfan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Hina. Happy birthday. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ananya. Here is your good name. Welcome. Hi, dear Ashu. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Dave. Here is yours. Hi, dear Antara. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much. Good to hear, Sanjayji. Hello, dear Aryan. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Jasvita. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hassan. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button, guys. Hello, dear Aishu. Welcome. Hi, dear Rayhan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sarat. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Hoor. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rehan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Dan. Here is yours. Hi Anita. How are you? Here is your beautiful name, dear. Hello, dear Varsha. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Nodira. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, dear Aisu. Hi, dear Kaila. Welcome. Here is your good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Leher. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Emil. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Arjun. Here is yours. Welcome. Hi, dear Kaylin. Here is your good name. Let's see who is next. Who is done, dear? Hi, dear Aisu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zahra. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arjun. Here is yours. Hello, dear Medina. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Aleph. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Yasina. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Lily. Here is yours. Hi, dear VJ. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Gabriella. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Arushi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ancock. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Farwa. How are you? Here is yours. Hello, dear SM. Here is your good name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Zoe. Hello, dear Lydia. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Madhu. Madhu. Hi, dear Madhu. How are you? Thank you so much. Hello, dear Diana. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Doruk. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Ellie. Here is yours. I am fine. Good to hear. Hi, dear Japhet. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sri John. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Palak. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Erin. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Mariam. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hi, dear Anamika in heart. Okay. Hello, dear Anamika. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Here is yours. Hello, dear Alicia. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Gata. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Amit. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the hi. Welcome. Hi, dear Jian. Welcome. Here is yours. Hello, hi. Hello, dear Famina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Olfa. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Abhishan. Hi, dear Abhishan. Here is yours. Hello, hi. Ranjita. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Nicolo. Double L O no double C O double C O L O. Hi, welcome. Hi, dear Mahia. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Akhil. Here is yours. Hello, dear Alexis. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Jessie. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for subscribing. What's a good name? Hi, dear Akil. Here is yours. Hello, dear Alkaram. Let me check the spelling. Alkam. Hi, dear Alkam. Here is yours. Hi, dear Fariha. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Belix. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sevara. Here is yours. Hello, dear Denisha. Thank you so much for joining. It is a beautiful name, dear. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Khan. Here is yours. Hey, dear Ashley. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Renuka. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Yamini. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Nandana. Here is your good name, dear Nandana. How are you? Hello, dear Sama. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rama. Here is your beautiful name, dear Rama. Hi, dear Bhavika. Here is your good name. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Yug. Welcome back. Here is yours. Hi, dear Wasabi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mulyono. What a unique name you have, dear. Here is yours. Hi, dear Mavi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ahmed. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Jibril. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Come on. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Misa. Now you. Hi. Welcome. Hi, dear Opa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Savan. How are you? Hi, dear Anila. Here is your beautiful name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Swara. Welcome back. How are you? Hello, dear Hiba. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Aldo. Aldo. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Kalia. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Bethany. Thank you for subscribing. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Wolfa. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Sonali. Here is your beautiful name, dear Sonali. Hello, dear Anjali. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Abby. Oh, what was the spelling? Hi, dear Suraj. Here is yours. Hello, dear Neeti. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Please double tap on your screens. Maybelline. Hello, dear Maybelline. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Edra. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. Hi, dear Dakshi. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for subscribing, guys. Hello, dear Manny. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Mariam. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear. What's a good name? Hi, dear Taya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abby. Here is yours. Vihaga. Hello, dear Vihaga. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Manny. Hey, dear Manny. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you. Hi, dear Riza. Here is yours. Good name. Hi, dear Anish. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Presley. Here is yours. Hi, dear Askia. Here is your good name. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Nauman. Here is yours. Guys, okay. Naman is done Priyu. Hi, dear Priyu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aditi. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Priyanshi. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Pooja. Here is yours. Hello, dear Yasin. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Tala. Here is Tala. Tala. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Tasneem. Here is yours. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Come on, guys, double tap on your screen. Hi, dear Amal. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Afia. Here is yours. Beautiful name. Hi, dear Arthur. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Uh, it's okay. It's okay. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Roshini. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shalom. Here is your good name. Don't spam, dear Amal. Hi, dear Jacoby. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ishan. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. And don't spam, dear Amal, please. Hi, dear Fahi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Karan. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screen, please. Hurry up. Double tap on your screens. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, dear page. Welcome. How are you? Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Hi, dear Rohan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear. Shanam is done, dear Ananya. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Sawan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Mashal. Here is yours. Such a unique name you have, dear Mashal. Hi, dear Maya. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Chaya. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Pallavi. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Pallavi. Thank you so much. You're most welcome. Hello, dear Manasvi. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sheila. Here is yours. Hello, dear Akshat. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear. Hello, dear Tiona. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Harsha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lena. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Maris. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Yuvraj. Here is yours. Hello, dear Krish. How are you? Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Alessi. Alessi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Gun Gun. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Roshna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Chaya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sham. Welcome. Jungkook. Hello, dear Army. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Ayush. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Nehir. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jess. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Santosh. Hi, dear Santosh. Here is yours. Hello, dear Faizan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Rose or Rose? I think you wanna say Rose. Okay. Hi, dear May. Welcome. Hi, dear Hirumi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Vidhi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Toshi. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Herman. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noshim. Here is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, dear Aditi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Simla. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Roya. Here is yours. Preeti. Hi, dear Preeti. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Shreya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Subi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear SM. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Wasika. Wasika, you have such a unique name, dear. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Nella. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zerar. Here is yours. Hello, dear Angel. Here is your beautiful name, dear Angel. Hi, dear Jeffrey. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Cardi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rocky. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Ikra. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sabir. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anila. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aki. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nivanet. Let me check the spelling. Navan double E-T. Nivanit. Hi, Nivanit. Well, Nivanit. Yeah, you have such a unique name. Welcome. Hi, dear Sidra. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Leo. How are you? Let's see who is next. Sienna. Hello, dear Sienna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amu. How are you? Here is yours. Ritika. Hi, dear Ritika. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Thank you so much for joining, dear Ritika. Hi, dear Riddhi. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Janvi. Hello, dear Janvi. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Zidna. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Merv. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noor. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Isa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Syra. Hello, dear Syra. Here is yours. Hikes. Hello. Welcome. Hello, dear Alka. Hi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Envy. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zaba. Here is yours. Hello, dear Huzema. What a unique name you have, dear Huzema. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, dear. I forgot the spelling, sorry. SL. Hi, SL. Welcome. Let me check the spelling. Mimin. Meaning or moment? Hello, welcome. Hi, dear Paris. Here is yours. Hello, dear Yashika. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Monica. Hi, dear Monica. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Mia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Bethany. Pethanny. Here is yours. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, dear. So hot. Welcome. Hi, dear Fevlin. Here is yours. Vinushita. Hi, dear Vinushita. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Mahesh. Here is yours. Hi, dear Honey. Here is yours. Hello, dear Saman. It is your beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Lick it. Hi, dear Lick it. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elinda or Edina? Ed, Edlinda. What's your name, dear? Can you please confirm? Edlinda or I am waiting. What's your name? Okay, moving to the next. Dear Nandu. Hi, dear Nandu. Welcome. Hello, dear Bedina. Here is yours. Hi, dear Saliha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Maisha. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Amul bro. How are you? Hi, dear Shaza. Here is yours. Hi, dear Habiba. Thank you so much for joining. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manha. Here is your beautiful name. Guys, double tap on your screen. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Wish Wish. Here is yours. Thank you. Hi, dear Ofa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fatima. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Mahima. Here is yours. Hello, dear Murtaza. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Shane. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zainab. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rabisa. What a unique name you have, dear Rabisa. Welcome. Hi, dear Yash. Here is yours. Hello, dear Avos. Here is yours. Oh my god, please don't spam. Hi, welcome, dear Chloe. Here is yours. Too much spam. Oh god. Petrova. Here is yours, dear Petrova. Don't spam, please. Don't spam, please. Hey, dear Musa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Maddie. Here is your beautiful name. Okay, Malak. Hello, dear Malak. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yasin. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Hamna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Thank you. Please don't spam, dear Thaise. Hello, dear Thaise. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Javen. Here is yours. Oh my god, too much spam. Please don't spam, guys. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Natasha. Here is yours. Please don't spam. Dear Daisy. I love your name, dear Daisy. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Aprish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Iman. Here is yours. Hi, dear Krisha. Here is your beautiful name. Welcome back, Amal. But please don't spam, dear. Hello, dear Hala. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sam. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ritvik. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to double tap on your screen, guys. Ali Hassan. Hello, dear Ali Hassan. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear Petrova. But next time, please, just comment your name, don't spam. Hi, dear Ali Hassan. Welcome, Kian. Hey, dear Kian. Hello, dear Jivan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Neil. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Amal. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sumaya. Here is a good name. I forgot the spelling Sumaya. So sorry. Let me check again. Sumaya. Where is your double M? Let me rewrite for you. SUMMAIYA. Hello, dear Sumaya. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Mesa. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Marley. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Massive. Hello. How are you? Hello, dear Joy. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elvia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Memuna. Here is yours. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Hello, dear Mary. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ayan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Gia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kiran. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mubashir. How are you? Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Lily. Here is yours. Hello, dear Arnav. How are you? Don't forget to like and subscribe, Rajpur. Hello, dear Rajpur. Here is yours, Rajpur Ji. Welcome. Hello, dear Ola. Here is yours, Zuveria. Welcome back, dear Zuveria. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Wufika. Here is yours. Hello, dear Satvik. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Jodhprig. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, dear Milani. Here is yours. Hello, dear Duke. Here is yours. Hi, dear Duana. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Okay, let's see. Ivan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sanvi. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear friend. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hoshi. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Poppy. Here is yours. Hi, dear again. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anik. Welcome. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amy. Here is yours. Hi, dear Baria. Here is your good name. Nidhemi. Hello, dear Nidhemi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Wahid. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Nisha. Hi, Nisha. Welcome. Hello, dear Baxora. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manha. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Honey. Here is yours. Hi, dear Fatima. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, dear Fatima. Hello, dear Dora. Here is yours. Hi, dear Adnan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ruhi. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Yasin. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screen. We have to complete 100. Help us to reach 100. Hi, dear Anoop. Welcome. Hi, dear Saja. Here is yours. Hello, dear Asa. How are you? Hi, dear Alicia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sharika. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kritika. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Pragya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Bhanu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kanishka. Here is your beautiful name. Kanishka. Sorry, my bad. Kanishka. Here is yours. Hi, dear Melina. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear. What's a good name? Toshmi. Hi, dear Toshmi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anchal. Hi, dear Sana. Welcome back. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ifra. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Emily. Here is yours. Hi, dear Praveen. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Larissa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Erin. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Raya. How are you? Here is yours, dear Akmal. Hi. Hello, dear Umera. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Divyanshi. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Umera. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Rima. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Minka. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noshad. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Shalija. Here is yours. Hello, dear Soham. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Let me check the name of yours. And other Amal. Hi, welcome. Hello, dear Layla. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Joy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Selena. Here is yours. Thank you for joining. You have to complete 90 at least. Double tap on your screen. Hi, Uday. Welcome. Hello, dear Misty. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tamanna. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Suzanne. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen, guys. Come on. Nitik. Hi, dear Nitik. Here is yours. Sorry. Hello, dear Hina. Here is yours. Hello, dear Melissa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Afifa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Vico. Let me check the spelling of Vico. Vichu. Hi. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Hi, dear Maha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shelja. Shelja. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zoe. Here is yours. Maha. Hi, Maha. Welcome. Hello, dear Dina. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Sneha, here is yours. Alayaha. Wow, what a unique name. Alayaha. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen, guys. Come on, double tap on your screens. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Shy. Welcome. Hello, dear Mabel. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rahim. Here is yours. Hi, dear Guna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Miranda. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sarita. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jayesh. Here is yours. Hi, dear Oser. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Beatrice. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amila. Here is yours. Hello, dear Juan. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Muhammad. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear June. How are you? Guys, double tap on your screens. Diksha, hello dear Diksha. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Binusha. Hello dear Binusha. Here is yours. Hi dear Aman. Here is yours. Hello dear Siddiq. Here is yours. Hi dear Elena. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, let's see who's next. Georgia. Hi, dear Georgia. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome. Thank you so much. Let's see who is next. Arieso. Here is yours. Hello, dear David. Here is your beautiful name. Double tap on your screen, guys. Let's see who's next. Mustirin. Hello, Mustirin. What a unique name you have. Welcome. Hi, dear Arav. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kyra. Here is yours. Hi, dear Manha. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Safa. How are you? Hello, dear Cassandra. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, dear Cassandra. Hi, dear Amy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Simi. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Faye Rose. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ali. Welcome. Here is yours, guys. To build up on your screen, we have to complete 100. So please double tap on your screens. Thank you so much, dear. Lots of love. Hello, dear Talha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yasmin. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Lots of love, guys. Thank you. Margot, hi dear Margot, here is yours. Hello dear Fies, here is yours. Chin, hello dear Chinu, here is yours. Hi dear Ganga, here is your beautiful name. Hello dear Sonia, here is yours. Hi Masuda, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Juwan and Alina. Juwan and Alina. For you. It is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Aisha. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Hello, dear Zainab. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shavina. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Ashi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Parthiv. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Taku. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Isa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Farhan. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, guys. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Anis. Here is yours. Anis or Anish. Anis, welcome. Hi, dear Sharon. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tajbir. 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 Here is yours. Hi, dear Sunny. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Dane. How are you? Hi, dear Reverie. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Khaled. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Angel. Hello, dear Angel. Here is yours. Hi, dear Riyadh. Here is yours. Thank you so much, Riyadh, for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hi, dear Aku. Here is yours. Another Hassan. Hi, dear Hassan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Murali. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Khushi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Praise. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Double tap on your screen. We are literally stuck on 94. Oh god. Hi, dear Zamira. Here is yours. Hamoud. Here is your beautiful name, dear Hamad. Thank you so much for your patience. Hi, dear Phelan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zealand. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anuj. Here is yours. Ruveda. Hi, dear Ruveda. Here is your beautiful name. Ruveda with Y? Ruveda with Y? Let me rewrite. Ruveda. Hi, dear Karna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shobana. Welcome. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nirwan. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hafsa. Hi, dear Hafsa. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hello, dear Usman. Harini. Hello, dear Harini. Hi, dear Nazima. Here is yours. Hello, Nimrat Kaur. Hello, dear Nimrat. Here is yours. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Umar. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ananya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Simi. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Daria. Hi, dear Daria. Here is yours. Hello, dear Azrael. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manish. Here is yours. Hi, dear Susie. Here is yours. Vivo 300 Pro. Okay, here is yours. Hello, dear Yahya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mason. How are you? Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Sam. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sachin. It is yours. Hi, dear Nia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Seema. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nauchi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Vaishnav. Welcome. Vaishnav. Here is yours. Hello, dear CEO. Welcome. Let's see who is next. Kieran. Hi, dear Kieran. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, Saida and Nancy. Saida. Hi. Nancy. Hello. Okay, dear Seema. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi Alok, welcome Gautam. Alok and Gautam. Alok and Gautam. Alok. Hi. Gautam. Hello. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tree. Hello, dear Ellen. Here is yours. Hi, dear Anissa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Joy. Samsung, don't spam, man. Vivo is done. Hello, dear Swara. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zilata. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Please don't spam, but you are still spamming, so take some rest. Hi, dear Ines. Here is yours. Hello, dear Muskan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Danish. Here is yours. Hi, Aliza. Walaikum assalam. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Wasim. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amira. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hello, dear Lucas. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kunju. Here is yours. Kuratulan. Hi, dear Kuratulan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nick. Here is a great name. Hi, dear Artha. Here is yours, Arthra. 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 Welcome. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Ruby. Here is yours. Hello, dear Maha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Amar. It is a beautiful name, dear Amar. Hi, dear Sana. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ashwin. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Double tap on your screens. Like the live. Hi, dear Ishan. Welcome. Hussein Ahmad. This is for you. Hi, let's see who is next. Firdod. Hi, Firdod. Welcome. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Fiza. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Firdaus. Yay, Firdaus. Hi, dear Tajbir. Here is yours. Hello, dear Umar. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Elena. Here is yours. Hello, JK. Hi, dear Narian. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Akshaya. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Hadija. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Dilnura. Here is yours. Hello, dear Pascala. Hi, here is yours. Hi, dear Purvi. How are you? Here is yours. Hello, dear Ayas. Here is yours, guys. Double tap on your screen. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Nikita. Welcome. Hello, dear Nikita. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kranti. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fatima. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Nandu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Badri. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen. You have to complete 120 at least. Hi, dear Ajas. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mahmood. Mahmood. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ari. Here is yours. Hi, Sham. How are you? Here is yours. Hello, dear Hisham. Hello, dear Hisham. Here is yours. I thought that. Hi, Sham. Hi, dear Abir. Hello, dear Farhan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Charlene. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Camille. Here is yours. Hi, dear Inba. Here is yours. Hi, dear Roro. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zoe. Here is yours. Hello, dear Iman. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zoe with double. Oh, hi. Hello, dear. Are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Amara. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Yagmur. Double tap on your screens. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Hello, dear Nita. Here is yours. Just give me 1 minute. Double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Say Haj. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ishal. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Yoshika. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Abdul Qadir. Hi, dear Abdul Qadir. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Imran. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Santa. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Antara. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Anushe. Here is your good name. Double tap on your screen, guys. Come on, do like the live. You fix the camera angle. Ibrahim. Hello, dear Ibrahim. Here is yours. Hello, dear Muskan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Virat. Here is yours. Oh, and also a famous celebrity's name, Daniela. Okay, dear Daniela. Here is yours. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Muntaha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Yashva. Here is yours. Hi, dear Bushra. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lara. Here is yours. Hello, dear Berisha. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Jilan or Jillian? Sarah, welcome. Hello, dear Rishika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Mia. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Danish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Inam. Welcome, Jillian. Hello, dear Jillian. Here is yours. Welcome back, host. How are you doing today? Okay, let's see who is next. Hello, dear Alan. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Bye. Thank you so much for joining, dear Anabia. Hello, dear Anabia. Here is your good name. Happy birthday. Guys, double tap on your screens. Double tap on your screens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see who is next. Dhasneen. Hi. Here is yours. Hi, dear my son. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fitri. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vigil. Here is yours. Hello, dear Christopher. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Jasmine. Hi, dear Jasmine. Here is yours. Hello, dear Talha. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, Wonky. How are you? Hello, dear Horla. Here is yours. CN. Hi. Welcome. Hi, dear Arif. Here is yours. Hello, dear Azan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Terry. Here is yours. Hi, Steve. Welcome back. How are you? Here is your good name, dear Steve. Welcome back. You're most welcome, dear Wonky. I like your name, Wonky. Hello, dear Abby. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, Farah. Hello, dear Farah. How are you? Hi, dear Umida. Here is yours. Hi, I am fine. Yippee. Good to hear. Welcome back. Hello, dear Fiza. How are you? Hello, dear Shofi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Dilip. Welcome. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Dilip. I am good. How about you? Hey, dear Adam. Here is yours. Thank you so much for asking. Hi, dear Jahida. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Abigail. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Jisha. Here is yours. Neil and Sarah. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much for joining. E-signature. Yes, I am also fine. I'm always fine when I see you live. Thank you so much. That's a huge compliment for me. Thank you, by the way. Hi, Rayan. Welcome. How's your day going? Hi, dear Rayan. Here is yours. Hi, Khatija. Welcome back. It is your beautiful name, dear Khatija. How are you? Hi, dear Hanzala. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rafiq. Welcome. Let's see who is next. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screen and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hello, dear Fitri. Here is yours, Miley. Hello, dear Miley. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rayan. Here is yours, Naira. Hi, Naira. Welcome. Hi, dear Sylvie. 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Screen your tab and like the subscribe. Whoa. Come on, guys. Screen your tab and then like the subscribe. Hello, dear Hume. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rehma. Here is your beautiful name. Spooky. Hi. Thank you. You're most welcome. Don't forget to double tap on your screen, guys. Khadija, don't use and other fonts. Hello, dear Sanvi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Saibal. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elvin. Here is yours. Hi, dear Horia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shashwant or Shashwat. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Hello, dear Rahma is done. Aisha and Zaheen. Aisha and Zaheen? Yes. Aisha and I don't know about them. Okay, Aisha and Zaheen. I don't know about them. Maybe they are busy. Hi, dear Amira. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ehtesham. Here is yours. No, Khatija, blue is not available. Hi, dear Ira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rayan is done. Ah. Let's see who is next. Yusuf. Hi, Yusuf. Here is your guys. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press. Don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Let's see who is next. Lucky. Hi, dear Lucky. Here is yours. Hi. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Rital is done or not? Hi. Hey, dear Seth. Here is yours. Hello, dear Eliza. Hey, Elize. It is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Munib. Welcome. Double tap on your screen, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Italo. Hi, dear Italo. Here is yours. Thank you so much for the compliment. Hi, dear Gosia. Here is yours. We are literally stuck on 135, 136, 35, 36. Can we make it 140 at least? Hi, Fatima Rehan. Rehan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here is yours. Hi, Amadullah. Welcome back. I remember you, man. Thank you so much for joining again. Let me rewrite. Here is yours. Thank you. You're most welcome. Don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Ayana. Welcome. How are you? It's okay. Enjoy your meal. Hi, dear Subat. It is yours. Hello, dear. Let's see who is next. Naima. Hi, Naima. I am good. How about you, dear? Hello, dear Laiba. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noor. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Radha. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let's see who is next. You're most welcome. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Let's see who is next. Samriddhi. Hi, Samriddhi. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Molly. Here is your good name. Hi. Hello, dear Josh. Here is yours. Hi, dear Inara. Here is yours. Hello, dear Arman. Here is yours. Thank you so much. Double tap on your screens. Hello, dear Kira. Here is yours. Ruba. Hi, dear Rupa. Here is your good name. Chotu is back. Hi, welcome back. How are you? Let's see who is next. Oh, thank God, night board. Rachel is done. Arman is done. Sophia. Here is yours. Don't spam. Gojo. Hi, dear Gojo. Hello, dear Zelda. Here is yours. Hima is done, dear. Don't spam. Hi, dear Krish. Welcome. Munim is done, though. Hassan is done. Let's see who is next. Screen your double. Subscribe and tap your bottom. Wow. Hello, dear persona. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Don't forget to press that subscribe button. And let's see who's next. See you. Retal and Hassan. Okay. Yes, Amal, brother. Oh, thank you. You're most welcome. Radha is done. Don't know when the name is done. Why some people still keep spamming? Hi, Aruna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abira. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Lali. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hiba. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mariam. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Urva. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rimsha. Here is yours. Oh, we got the today again. That's sweet. Oh, thank you so much. Hey, all, anyone, speak with me. Hi, How are you, Shehryar? Hello, dear Shehryar. Welcome. Here is yours. Shalala. Oh God, Steve. Hi, dear Sahab. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ali. Here is yours. Hello, dear Bisma. Here is your good name. Thank you so much. Hey, dear Asel. Here is yours. Hello, dear Naxu. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's see who is next. Hi, Alicia. Hi, dear Leela. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rishana. Is the stream is lagging? Welcome, Anabia. Hi, dear Anabia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sidi. Here is yours. Lali. Lali is done now. Here is yours. Khushi. Hi, dear Khushi. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. You're most welcome, dear. Love you all. Hi, dear K, sir. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Manish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ila. Hi, dear Anam. Here is yours. I will talk with me. When? Hi, dear Rushta. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manish. Hi, dear Manish. Hi, dear Akas. Here is yours. Bhai, do you know about Mohsen Bhai? Ruba, okay. Hi, dear Manish. Welcome. Hello, Rinza Rano. Rinza and Rano. Hi. It's okay. Abdul Aziz. Welcome. Hello, hi. Tanya, hello, dear. You're most welcome, dear Lily. Hello, dear Marva. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Ajay. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screen. Come on. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Shamli. Shamli is your name? Shamli. Welcome. Hi, dear Rita. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Bilaj. Here is yours. Hello, dear Irfan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Mia. Welcome. Hello, dear Oswin. Here is yours. Hello, dear Olivia. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. And hi, dear Atif. Here is yours. Hello, dear Iman. How are you? Hi, dear Aiden. Here is yours. Hello, dear Minsa. Now it's time to end the stream. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button, guys. Double tap on your screens. Lina's TV. Hi, here is yours. And we are going to write our last name for this stream. So comment your name. Hello, dear Kumush. Welcome. Billy. Nia. Thank you so much, dear Marwa. And Ashley, one of my favorite names. And Tanak or Tamek? Let me check. Tamek is so angry. Don't be angry, man. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shamna. It is your beautiful name. Okay. Let's see who is next. Yeah, in 1 minute. We are looking for our last name for this stream, I think, which is Umaima or Bikram. Bikram is our last name for this stream. Thank you so much for subscribing. Those who like this live, thank you so much. With the core of my heart. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care. See you in the next live in the evening. Bye.